into Southern ethnicity. And today I want to speak about the Scots-Irish because I see there's a lot of confusion going on with this ethnicity, especially in the South. Now, the Scots-Irish make up, in many cases, half of our ethnicity as Southerners. But it's a misnomer, okay? Scots-Irish does not mean that your grandfather wore a kilt and blew the bagpipes and your grandmother walked around with a four-leaf clover, okay? That is not what it means. It doesn't mean that your grandmother was Irish, your grandfather was a Highlander, and from their marriage became Scots-Irish. It's a misnomer, okay? So, what Scots-Irish means was a way to describe a group of people that came over before the Revolutionary War in the 1700s, from the 1700s early up to the Revolutionary War, came over by the hundreds of thousands from Northern Ireland, the plantations in Northern Ireland, and from the Scots Anglo border regions. Okay? So, let's look at this map. We've seen this before. The genetic map. And I'll make a little drawing here. Okay. This general area here is where the Scots-Irish come from. The Scots-Irish are a culture, a border culture, a British culture, an English-speaking culture, a highly Teutonic culture. Okay? These lowland Scots and border English, in many cases, would have saw themselves as more Teutonic than a Londoner or an Englishman. For the reason, that's good. Back here. Here. Okay. Bernicia was a Anglo kingdom. Of course, Reged right next to it is going to be a British kingdom. Pardon. Okay. Okay, so, well, are the Scots-Irish Celtic or are the Scots-Irish Germanic? They are both. They're heavily Germanic and heavily Celtic. And you can see here that the DNA structure represents the old kingdoms. They're native Britons and they are Angles. And that's what the Scots-Irish is. Now, these people were not kilt-wearing, tartan-wearing, bagpipe-blowing Gaelic people that you see in the Highlands. Okay, that is a different culture. And these are the Scots-Irish that make up part of the Southern ethnicity. Now, yes, there are areas in the South, in North Carolina, where Highland Scots came and had communities. That's true. I've got Highland Scot ancestry. I've got Irish ancestry. So, but when we say we're Southerners, okay, that is a British, Irish, and Northwest European culture. Okay, so with principally British as the the 80% of the ethnicity is going to be British, and Great Britain is a big isle. The reason being, okay, the southern colonies were English colonies, founded by the London Company, which failed. The Crown takes over. Then you have the headright system, in which people pay for the majority of my family. How they got here in Virginia was someone paid their way in exchange for their labor. And that was the headright system. And then you work for them for a period of, could be up to 14 years, and then you get 50 acres. Okay, a lot of times that didn't happen, but a lot of times it did. A lot of times people were cheated out of there. Okay, so this is the first wave, and the people taking advantage of this headright system were people from all over England, but primarily, especially in colonies like Isle of Wight and Surrey, is from the Bristol Channel area and up along the borders with Wales. So, but back to the Scots-Irish. Okay, so you see people, oh, my grandfather said, well, we're Scots-Irish. And then you get a DNA test done, and, well, it says you're 75% English. Well, of course you are. That's who the Scots-Irish are. The Scots-Irish are English speakers. It's an English culture. It's a British culture. And they were transplanted, moved to Northern Ireland. That's where they picked up the Irish name. They were there for a little while. And some Irish customs. They come over, okay, to the United States from Ireland. Okay, and people say, well, you're Irish. Okay? And they say, yeah, we just came from Ireland. Of course we're Irish. Well, then after the Revolutionary War and the potato famine, another wave come over, which are Irish Catholics. And so they're distinguishing themselves culturally from the Irish Catholics that come into Boston, into New York, because these Scots-Irish are Protestants, country folk, and different than the Catholic Irish in the towns. So they had the name, well, we came from Scotland before we came from Ireland, so let's call ourselves Scots-Irish. Okay? And so now, over the time, when we think of Scotland, we think of kilt, and we think of bagpipes. Well, we do this because the trend during the Victorian era, and so, well, okay. So these people here, they wouldn't consider themselves as Highlanders, the Scots-Irish. That's Scottish, okay, and that's Highland, that's Gaelic, that's different than Scots-Irish. Now, here in America, it gets confusing. So are Southerners Scottish people? Okay, well, Southerners, I'm going to say over and over, are mostly border people. They come from border of South Wales, and in England, and even, the port of Liverpool up there, which is close to northern Wales, but they're not this far eastern part of Wales here. Okay. That point there in the green represents a group of people, the Welsh up here around Anglesey. Their DNA signal is the closest to what we would call a true Celt, okay? They most represent the natives of the British Isles and Ireland, okay? They didn't get a lot of almost zero DNA input from the Anglo-Saxon integration and the Anglo-Saxon settlement into England. Probably for location and other reasons, but that's it. But when I say, okay, so from the Welsh borders, and there's a lot of people in the south with Welsh names like me, Williams, okay? My ancestors come from Wales, but they come from a different part of Wales. They come from down here around the Bristol Channel. And either side of the Bristol Channel, Cardiff, and down in the southwest part of England. And that's where a lot of the people from that populated the original southern colonies in Virginia come from. And there's Welsh migrations that come into the United States, mainly go up north into town, and that would be from this northeast region. But that's not the southern genetic makeup. Okay, so I'm going to end this video now. If there's any questions, I would like to address them. If I made a mistake that you saw, please let me know and then I'll address it. But I just wanted to speak a little bit about the Scots-Irish because I feel like that's a confusing term, and it's creating some confusion. Scots-Irish is an American ethnicity, okay? In Britain and Ireland, they would call themselves Ulster Scots, okay? Now, I think they have a lot of similarities, the Ulster Scots now in Northern Ireland, and Southerners. There's a lot of similarities between the two cultures. For one, we're both hated quite a bit by our neighbors. Northern Irish, a lot of them, the Unionists claim to be British. Okay, well, they are British. They were transplanted and moved, or they were forced away and moved to Northern Ireland, just like my ancestors were moved or chose to move, or in many cases, saw greater opportunities to move to the plantations in Virginia and then in Georgia with the Scots-Irish, my Scots-Irish ancestry. So, okay, Scots-Irish, British genetic makeup. Is it Celtic? What do you want to call Celtic? Yes, okay. It is Celtic. It's native British. Celtic's another misnomer that we use. That's it means more in a Victorian era when you had nationalistic movements going on, that you were trying to separate yourself from the boogeyman, which is England. Do we want to get into how different, an Angle or a Jute was from a native Briton? Not very much. Okay, not very much at all. And you can even see where missionaries from the northern part of England in the early Christian era would refer to our brothers, the Saxons, when going on mission trips. Oh, but we don't want to go there because that offends people's sensibilities. But okay, I'll stop there. Thank you again. And comments, I would enjoy them. Please subscribe when you watch this video, and hopefully I'll be able to make more and cover different subjects. Southerners, before I leave, Southerners, we're very fortunate that we are able to keep our ethnicity and our culture. And it's been attacked and it's continued to be attacked. But we were forged in a spot that was very rough in this country very early on in the United States. And my effort is to call back our people from this globalist pot of goo where they want to completely disconnect all of your connections to your old country, your soul. Boy, if they can just disconnect your soul from your people and your culture. And that's what I'm here to stop.